It's Monday noon, the time is here. Shane and I'll be loud and clear. Pacific vibes, we bring the heat. AI agents can't be beat. AI agents out, let's go. News and guests, the big show. Solving problems, we do it live. Stay informed, it's a vibe. Building agents that work for you. Making moves, we see it through. Every week, a brand new show. Tag along and watch your knowledge grow. AI agents out, let's go. News and guests, the big show. Answering questions, we arrive. Every Monday, come alive. We want reviews, but only if it's a 5. We share the drama, we got the drive. Stay in the loop, it's the place to be. Shane and I'll be setting you free. Agents out, we're here to stay. Tune in Mondays, make your day. From the news to the problem solved. AI world, get
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Agents Hour. I'm Shane. I'm here with Abby. What's up, dude?
What up?
Today is Monday, March 2nd. We do this every week at noon. We're going to be talking through some drama, like always. There's always drama. And
So
we
much
got it.
drama.
And we'll be talking about all the AI news. So no guests today, so it's going to be a little shorter episode than normal. But yeah, I'm excited. What about you? What are you up to, dude?
Dude, I am not in the United States right now. I am in Paris, visiting some friends, getting some work done. It's been pretty cool.
Yeah, hence the different background than normal.
Yeah, this Airbnb background, you know.
How's Paris?
Dude, it's pretty good. I think the one thing that I've noticed since I got here, besides being super jet lagged, is I've been trying to get my work done, but Claude is not so good here in Europe. I don't know, maybe it's because I haven't like SF pilled or whatever, but I do not think Claude is as intelligent in Europe than in the United States. I've been very frustrated, and I understand today is a unique day, which we'll talk about. But ever since I got here on Thursday, it's kind of feels like 3.7 Sonnet type of intelligence, not 4.6 Opus.
So you're saying that is it all hours of the day, or it's just you think as in the data centers they just like turn you down a little bit, turn down the intelligence a bit?
So I thought it was all hours of the day, but like last night around like 11, 12 a.m., because I'm still doing stuff in PST time, it was smart again. So I'm like, what the fuck? Maybe that's because it's an American morning,
Yeah, it's funny because Tony on the team has been saying that for a while. He said EU hour is always questionable of level of intelligence, but it seems like Claude gets smarter in the Pacific time. I'm
Yeah,
sure
I
there's
wonder.
I don't know. It feels like it's very speculative to me, but you never know.
That's my conspiracy theory now. Maybe they want people in EU to use Mistral, but no one wants to. So like they have to like nerf it somehow. But I'm definitely getting a Codex subscription after this. Like, gotta have both.
Yeah, man, I've been using Codex quite a bit more. It's funny, I was chatting with Charlie from Conductor, and he said, like, I had a suggestion for Conductor, and he said, let me get Codex on that. And he just texted me that, and I was like, oh, that's interesting, because I feel like a month ago everyone would have said, let me get Opus on it or let me get Claude on it.
Yeah.
And now more and more people are referring to just, putting Codex on it.
How are you
And
liking Codex?
so I'm kind of, I've been using Master Code lately, which we can talk about. And so I use Codex for all the planning, and then I'm still using Opus for a lot of the implementation. So far, I like it. I've been I think it's good for what I've been using it for. I want to eventually flip over and just use Codex for the whole thing, but I've just kind of been using the Master Code defaults to try them out,
Yeah.
and been happy with it. I think the plans it writes are just as good. I don't notice any differences. Maybe arguably could be better. I don't know. I don't notice positively or negatively. It feels very similar in that regard. Maybe like slightly different style of writing, I would say.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the biggest thing. But as far as the quality, it seems pretty on par.
Yeah, I'm gonna try it, and maybe I'll get Codex pilled.
Yeah, I don't know. Also, like, let's talk a little bit about the Master Code recap. So we launched Master Code last week. It was very well received. Got a lot of hype, a lot of people trying it out, a lot of good comments, a lot of bug reports, a lot of great things. The one overwhelming comment that we got was, how does this work with Anthropic models? Are you going to get banned? And so I'm going to get on a
Yeah.
little bit of a pedestal here and, ban me. Come on, ban me. I dare you. I'll just use Codex. Like, what are you doing? It's like, if Anthropic's way to like get people not to use their models, which I totally agree with their position. They can ban anyone they want. It is their product. You don't have to allow people to use your subscription. It is in your terms. But if you read the terms, the only thing that they could do, according to the terms, I'm not a lawyer, consult your own lawyer, is just suspend your account. And so if that's the worst thing that's going to happen, and they're just going to turn off my account, well, then I guess you're asking me not to pay you money anymore. And that's fine. I just won't. I'll go somewhere else. I feel like they could have got away with it early December. I just don't
Yeah.
think they're that much better anymore. I really don't. Just on, again, limited sample size. The vibe is shifting. More and more people are using Codex and seeming, I've seen a lot of people I respect say they went to Codex and they're not going back. So they'll go back if the models are good enough, right? You're going to go to wherever's
Yeah.
the best. But I feel like the gap used to be like 5 to 10% better, Opus was. Now it's like maybe, arguably 0 to 2%. Like, it's still maybe a little better, especially if you're kind of used to using it. But I don't think that's a big enough gap. If they start banning people because they're trying to pay them $200 a month and use their model or their subscription in different ways that maybe they don't want them to, especially when OpenAI came out and said, go ahead, use your OpenAI subscription with any of these tools. We're okay with it. I feel like that puts
Yeah.
Anthropic in a really tough spot, that if they actually start banning people, I just don't see it going
Do
positively
we
for them.
know anyone who's got banned yet?
No, I also think I've not met one actual person who said, yes, I actually got banned. I think it's just like
Yeah.
fear mongering a bit.
Yeah.
Now, if you're listening to this
'Cause-
and you
yeah.
got banned, tell me, because I want to hear it. DM me. Find me on Twitter. Let me know.
That was like the most frequent comment last week from Master Code launch was, "Oh, you're gonna get me banned from Anthropic if I use this." And you know, spoiler, like you could use other models with Master Code. It's just, we pick some defaults because that's what we use. And
Yeah.
you can log into Anthropic, and if you're building open source project, that's on you in the terms of service. But Master Code itself is not something that makes money or anything like that. So from our perspective, we can use it as much as we want. We're not making money off of it. But it's like the terms are so gray, and they keep doubling down on clarification. And even then, every time they do, still it's like, what does it mean? What does it actually mean? Am I going to get banned? But enough about Anthropic. We had a crazy release in the sense that a lot of people used it. Like the download numbers are pretty good for something that just came out like last week.
Yeah. I mean, what was your main takeaway from last week?
I think that observational memory has struck a nerve, and we have now started saying friends don't let friends run compaction, which is also has struck a nerve with people. I mean, I rarely post on LinkedIn, and I posted on LinkedIn. I got hella likes and stuff. I That is such a good phrase because people understand that pain. If you're using Monster Code, you do not have that pain. And then, our demo last week was very well received on YouTube. So it seems like there's a lot of interest in what Monster Code is.
Yeah, I was actually shocked at how well that YouTube video did, which is, it wasn't like mega viral, but compared to, it's just a clip from this live stream. If you're watching this is live. Leave us a comment, chat with us. We're here. We'll talk to you. But yeah, I just think it definitely hit a vibe at the right time. I think that, as a company, it's not our main thing. Like Master Code is not our main thing, but we are kind of invested in it because at this point, so much of the team is using it every day that we're going to keep
Yeah.
fixing it, and we're going to do it for ourselves because we think it's just better. And we figured, why not just let others use it if you want to. So if if you
Yeah.
run it, if you're
I can't even
testing
go
out,
back to Cloud Code
yeah,
anymore.
I don't want
It's at
to.
that point. Yeah, I don't want to.
I do really like, I'm still a big fan of Conductor, so I really like the Conductor-like experience, but I started using Superset with Master Code as well. So I still have like old sessions in Conductor, so I'm still using both, and I still appreciate
Yeah.
both of the tools. But I've been using Superset. It's really cool. Works really well with Master Code, which is obviously a CLI-based tool. It doesn't do anything special on top of it. I can just use Master Code in Superset, but I needed the Git work trees because I want to work on multiple threads in the same project, right?
Yeah.
And once I had that, I was cooking like normal, and it felt good.
No compaction either.
No, never compact. Friends don't let friends compact.
Yeah.
Friends don't let friends use compaction.
If you're listening and still getting compacted, how dare you? Just kidding.
Yeah, I mean, come on. All you got to do, just go download Master Code. It's really easy. All right. Well, with that, should we move on to the next segment?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. What? So Vercel and Cloudflare. So if you tell us a little bit about what happened this last week, and we'll talk about it a little more in the news, but then I think it's really interesting to just see like what caused this drama. This isn't just AI, but I feel like if you're seeing what's happening in the AI space now, because a lot of it is AI related, or like, it's kind of on the edges of AI, you might be wondering like, what's the history here and why do these companies hate each other so much? It's good for us with our popcorn sitting on the sidelines, watching it.
Yeah.
It provides a lot of entertainment value, but there's some legitimate beef between the companies, and I feel like it would be kind of fun to spend just a few minutes talking about it before we dive into all the
Yeah.
news.
We're also very uniquely positioned to talk about this because we actually lived it. We lived the pre-beef, the post-beef, like, and everything in between. So if y'all don't know about us, we used to work on a JavaScript framework called Gatsby.js, and people we used to beef with people too. Um, and this last week, Cloudflare uh, released something called vinext. So it's VI next. It is a complete rewrite of Next.js using Vite, and it was many things were rage baiting in their post, but it was very impressive. They had one engineer. They recreated Next.js with an LLM. Obviously, probably within someone sitting on the loop, of course. They took all of Next.js's test cases. We'll talk about this whole testing privacy in a bit. They took all the test cases, essentially made sure all the test cases pass, and then they released this as vnext. It works on Netlify, Cloudflare, etc., with the point of saying that, hey, Next.js sucks in a lot of ways, vendor lock-in, it's not good anymore, and Vite is better, and Vite has a more stable community, etc., etc. And then they also said that it cost $1,000 of inference to build vnext. So from that perspective, like price, resourcing in terms of employees, and then the outcome and impact, it was a big launch, which then pissed off Vercel, and that started a war. Not necessarily a war. The war's been brewing. It just started a back and forth on multiple channels between the execs. And I actually prepared a timeline of the whole drama since 2020, because that's when I first kind of remember them popping off and all this drama happening till today. So let me share that, and then we can stop for questions and stuff. But as like a historian of someone who lived through this, I just remember where I was in a lot of these events and how I thought about it. So I'm happy to share that with y'all. So let me do that. So cool thing about uh, Claude Chat, or even Claude Code, is you can take control of the browser. So I had it go and research tweets that I knew existed, and then we vibe coded this timeline app. But let me kinds of this where the rivalry heated up, this open next thing, and then vibe coding wars. The timeline may be a little off, but the general sequence of events makes a lot of sense to me. And I remember where some of this stuff related to Gatsby as well. So yeah, let's start. So I think all of this really started when Cloudflare Pages launched. I remember at Gatsby, we were like wondering what the heck was Cloudflare going to do with Cloudflare Pages. And at the time, Vercel was also doing some Jamstack stuff too. Obviously, Gatsby was as well. And so they announced this Cloudflare Pages, and essentially it was like opening the like their first leg into kind of Vercel's territory. Funny enough, like we were in the territory too, but no one cares about us. So back then. So then Pages goes GA, and so now you can build Jamstack with Cloudflare natively. You don't have to, buy into any framework. You could just use their, framework, the defined infrastructure, etc. Now, the community is actually what egged this on the most. So there's this guy. He wrote a big blog that went viral that was called the Vercel tax, and we'll share this later. But this is one of our friends from Wondergraph, actually, John's. He pretty much said that there's markups on everything, and it's pretty much the Vercel is a pricey platform narrative came out, which then got more virality. There's a Hacker News thread that went viral about amplifying that Vercel tax. People got hit with like overages and things, so starting to make Vercel look very expensive. And obviously Cloudflare, for what it's worth, is very cheap. It's very affordable for the most part. While this was happening, right, it's not just Cloudflare that disliked like the Next.js architecture. Before open code, if y'all didn't know, before open code, Dax and crew used to work on something called OpenNext, which is like from their org, like SST. And they had this whole community of things to run Next.js on open infrastructure. So and obviously Dax and Guillermo and Vercel always had some type of beef on Twitter, making fun of each other. I believe, Guillermo little broed Dax, which is hilarious, by the way. Like there was just like a tweet that's like, "Oh, it's okay, little bro," and it was just went wild. I thought it was hilarious. But when Cloudflare joined OpenNext, and this is Dax's tweet right here. Cloudflare has officially joined OpenNext to help solve Next.js vendor lock-in. So that obviously strikes a nerve with the Vercel crowd as well. This was this last year. The Next.js had a huge security vulnerability, which no fault to anyone, but that happened, and obviously all the competitors jumped on it to make it bigger than it was. Then we have more OpenNext and Cloudflare. Essentially, what they're trying to do, right, is to get people to switch from Vercel to Cloudflare using Next.js, but it's really challenging to do so, just because there's a lot of like specific framework things that are not compatible, I guess. Then this dude makes a comparison analysis on Cloudflare versus Vercel. And so anytime you do these comparisons, like both sides of the community start raging at each other. Now let's get into like the most recent stuff. So starting on, I think it was like last week, Dax is collecting people like Infinity Stones. That was a cool tweet. I think it's because they got Ryan, or who did they get? Oh, they got Reese Alexander, I believe is his name, from Vercel. He built the domains product. Now he's at Open Code. So that's like, interesting. Then they called. So then Dane, who's the CTO of Vercel or Cloudflare, had this tweet. It's Next.js Liberation Day. The number one request we keep hearing: help us run Next fast and secure without the lock-in and the costs. And this is where vnext comes into play. Then the tweets start coming in. We rebuilt Next.js in a week. This vnext blog post, 1.8 million views. And the implicit message is Next.js does not need Vercel, which is a huge shot fired, if you ask me. Those are some fighting words, Then, dude, Dane's been doubling down. His name's Reese Sullivan, my bad. He's saying, like, I like to think I helped get Reese to open code. I feel like it should be mentioned in the next investor letter. So, like, it's just joking that he's, like, stealing people. But then, okay, so that was all Cloudflare side. Then on the Guillermo side, he flips it right back, like saying that Cloudflare is being very dishonest about Next.js's framing, and so he wants to liberate Cloudflare users. Then he starts going in on Wrangler JSON doesn't make sense, which in my opinion, I agree with him. Wrangler JSON is kind of whack, just to be neutral here. So he's saying that Cloudflare is equally as proprietary in what they do. Then Malte, the CTO of Vercel, starts firing back. He coins this word called slop fork. You're going to hear the word slop fork in the community for a while. He's just saying that anything that vnext is a slop, AI slop, and it's a fork of an open source project that already exists. At the same time, interestingly enough, TL moves their tests to a closed source repo, probably to prevent something like this from happening, where people can create replica products with the tests being open source, so you have like a good North Star to know if your integration is working. And then, okay, so there's more. This gets even better, So then Malte, he expresses that, Steve slop forked Next.js. He was subtweeting a world which he created himself. So now they're really like just going. Now the two CTOs start going after each other in threads. So this is a banger line from Malte. He tells us to Dane, he's like, homework. Think about how it is different to build something new and interesting versus making a pure slop fork. All right. Then so they're going back and forth. So then Dane like comes back at him, talking about how he built just Bash, which I guess could be argued is a slop fork of Bash. Whatever. Then Vercel finds CVEs within vnext, and then they open up PRs for them. So then, Guillermo's like saying, due to how these bug bounty programs, we're getting paid for the discoveries by Cloudflare. So they're getting paid to fix their CVEs. They found 7 vulnerabilities in vnext, 2 critical, 2 high, 2 medium, 1 low. And then, dude, gets so much funnier. So then he's just like, thanks, we really appreciate it. We're looking to see your PR for the full test suite. We're excited to hear that you are working on this. So then they're going back and forth, like they're calling, Guillermo's calling them desperate. Then Malte's like, hey, most Next.js projects don't run on Vercel. They're like self-hosted. So that's like some other thing. Then it's like, yeah. So yeah, there's just a lot of stuff here. Let me just get to the final thing, which is from our friend Jeff Tang. This is the funniest comment. He's like, the sexual tension between Vercel and Cloudflare employees must be crazy. Because they're just going at it on Twitter. That's just so funny. So yeah, I'll stop there. We'll release this. I don't know if we should release this, but
no, maybe we shouldn't.
is,
but it's here. It lives on
here.
YouTube and X and everywhere else.
Yeah, you can
But I think
find this out for yourself.
Here's the thing. I don't have a horse in the race. You know, we're friends with people at Cloudflare. We're friends with people at Vercel. We compete with them on different things, you know. So to us, it's just kind of funny sitting on, sitting on the outside watching this. I'm sure you're all thinking some of the same things. What is going on? Like, how does the timeline of this actually line up? And so it was kind of funny to kind of go through that trip. I felt like I was in the story, I was going through it together. So thanks for explaining it. And hopefully if you were watching this, you got some entertainment out of that. And maybe you now understand why there's probably like going to be even more beef between the two in the future.
Yeah. But hilarious as hell, and having like relationships with both companies, you can totally feel the sexual tension that's there.
Yeah, there's definitely some built up tension between the two, and but they just they air it publicly for us all to enjoy. So that's what we're gonna do here. We're gonna talk about things, especially when they kind of collides with AI, which none of this stuff, like, this wouldn't have been possible 2 years ago, right? Like, it would have taken a lot longer for these cycles to happen. Where now, it's much more public. It's much faster paced because they can ship code faster. They can, try things more frequently, and obviously they are going to be, competing with each other even more so, I think, than they were before.
Yeah.
And for those of you that are tuning in, this is Agents Hour. We do this every Monday. If you are watching live, which thanks for watching, you can drop a comment on X or LinkedIn or YouTube, and we'll bring it up on the show. We did have one comment that was a while back. We should just answer this question. Can I run master code with a local LLM?
Yeah, you can use LM Studio, and then use LM Studio API key, and you're off to the races.
I think Tyler just had a PR for that, though, right? With local models?
You can use custom providers in our latest release that's going out tomorrow. But yeah, you'll be able to use custom ones and then, bring your own.
Yeah. So the answer is yes. Do it. Let us know what you think. Well, dude, should we go to the news?
Let's do it.
All right. Welcome to Agents Hour. I'm Shane. I'm here with Abby. We are covering all the AI news from this week, and there was a lot this week. It feels like every week there's a lot. If you are like me and like Abby, you're just trying to hang on and keep up with everything that's going on. And we're going to try to help you. So we're going to go through a lot of the news. We're not going to cover every single piece that's happened, just because, there's quite a bit. But we'll do our best. And let me just get this pulled up. So we basically like to share our screen and kind of talk through some of the drama. There's a lot of drama, some of the actual hard-hitting news, and just like keep up with model releases, new features that are coming out. And it feels like because these companies have a lot of resources and they're able to ship code faster, it's even harder than it ever was before to keep up with everything that's going on. So if you're tuning in, buckle up. We're going to try to get through a lot of this, and hopefully you'll at least feel like if you invest this time, you will now have a little bit more of a picture into what's going on in all the AI world, agents world. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
All right. All right. So this is kind of the big news. There's obviously some global military conflicts. So we're not going to talk too much about the politics behind this and all the other, potentially bad things. But there is something that is impacting us if we're in the AI world, right? And we're building technology, we're writing code, that there are actually missile strikes hit AWS's data centers in the UAE and Bahrain. So there's outages for AWS. I think an entire region of AWS was down. And apparently, and this is like, Grok's summary. So, I believe it to be true based on what we've seen. It caused some Claude outages as well. That's kind
Yeah,
of
anyone in that region is
yeah.
screwed.
And Abby, you being over in Europe too, you've noticed just degradation of Claude earlier today, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so
There's been a status page all day.
yeah, and so likely related to that, hopefully no one was hurt. We don't know any of the details around that, but just know that if you're wondering why your tokens aren't coming back, that's probably why. I noticed a lot of people were like, why? They thought that it was a problem on their end, but Claude has been notorious for having downtime. This time it's, seems it's not just their fault.
Yeah.
But before this, last week, there was a ton of drama around Anthropic with the United States Secretary of War and OpenAI. And you probably saw some of the things, or at least if you're following along online, you've seen some things. So we're going to go through it. This was interesting. So I think the story goes that the Secretary of War of the United States was trying to get Anthropic to agree to do some things that they maybe didn't want to do, that they said was against their code of ethics or whatever, and around what they wanted access to with Anthropic models, what the government wanted to be able to access. And it didn't go as well as people had hoped. And so the President Trump said that essentially, you can read his long post there, but basically said, we're not going to allow Anthropic models within the government. And they labeled
Which is
it
wild.
and what did they label it? So they labeled it a supply chain risk because they wouldn't open up their models. So they labeled a supply chain risk, which according to this post, and again, I haven't verified this, it essentially means that anyone that does business with the government can't use Anthropic models because it's deemed a supply chain risk. And so that means it's not just, the Department of War potentially that can't use it, or the Department of Defense. It is now all the people, all the major contractors that work with the government, which is a huge amount of people, right? That's one of the biggest industries is like government contracts, right? And now if none of them can use Claude, that is going to seriously hurt, I guess, Claude's financial prospects, especially with plans for them to go public. So I don't know. What do you think?
Well, if you get caps, dude, they got caps locked by the president, dude. You never want to get caps locked by Trump. That is that you got screwed. Not to say good or bad or anything, but it's pretty, when you get caps locked by Trump, it's not good. But the second thing, I was trying to understand, what does the government want to do that Anthropic didn't want to do? And it comes around all around AI safety. Essentially, what Anthropic does not want to have happen is two things. And that's the only two things they cared about is they do not want Claude to be used to run autonomous weapons, and they don't want to have this used for mass surveillance of Americans, which seems pretty reasonable to me. But I think the fact that you're limiting the government's wants and capabilities is what they took offense to, and now they don't want to do anything with it.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like a pretty reasonable request, right? And I appreciate Anthropic, for wanting that and not wanting to sign away those rights. But because I think because of that, they were made an example of, right? I think that's really what it comes down to, right or wrong. I do believe that they were basically made an example of to say hey, you do need to play ball. And if you don't, then here are the consequences. And
then they got ghosted. They got ghosted by the DOJ or DOW because they after it all fell through, they've been trying to hey, what's going on? What's going on? And they just got radio silence. I believe Dario went on CNN or something the day after to have an interview. And even in that, it was a good interview, but also he had a glow up too. He seems pretty sharp these days. That's what happens when you raise billions of dollars, you just get good looking or whatever.
Yes.
But
there was a tweet of funding rounds and hair loss, and is you lose your hair until you get to Series C, and then you start
then you gain it
growing your hair back. It's
no wonder Elon has so much hair now.
Yeah, he was looking good, and yeah, it was a good interview. You know, have if you saw the intro to the if you watched the full live stream, you saw the intro. You know, I have a love-hate relationship with Anthropic, right? I don't like that
Yeah.
they're threatening to ban people for using their subscriptions, but I also appreciate that they do care about safety. I I don't agree with all the ways they care about safety because it kind of seems like in Dario's perspective, we're the only ones that can do it. No one else can. So
Yeah.
no one else should be able to make models or, you know, because they don't have the same ethics. But then it's also like you're just one of the many people that want to do this. So why are you the gatekeepers of that? But I do appreciate the sentiment of, wanting AI safety. I think it's important.
Yeah, they use this ambiguous term, the lawful use of AI. It's very ambiguous for a reason. And I think the government obviously puts it that way because, as we know from the Patriot Act, it is a lawful use of technology to spy on your citizens if they are going to deemed a threat. I'm not agreeing with that. It happened. A lot of brown people got, caught up because of it. Coming from like, okay, what does lawful mean? Are you going to surveil everyone? That doesn't seem lawful to me. But this is where it gets super political and like so many
Yeah.
different sides.
Yeah. And so to continue the story, Sam publicly came out and said, I support Dario on this. Like, I agree. And then also Sam was negotiating with the Department of War to take his business on the same day. So, okay. And then Anthropic makes a statement, then that's when the CNN interview came out a little bit after that. And then Sam Altman a little bit later says, oh, we reached an agreement with the Department of War. So Sam just came in and took potentially all that business. Imagine like all that and and the government contractors that were using Anthropic models that maybe have to now switch off. Where are they going to go? Well, they're probably going to go to OpenAI because it's either OpenAI, Google, or maybe XAI. Maybe they're kind of in the game,
Yeah.
but you took one of the four major providers out.
So okay, I don't want to say the word scam Altman, but Sam Altman, sorry. He obviously, if you watch the show, I have a certain opinion here, but um, so he's like, oh yeah, we should have safety and stuff. That's why we took the deal instead because lawful use here for them is it's all good government, do what you want. OpenAI and its employees are going to be in the loop every step of the way of what's going to happen, and we're going to control this stuff. Honestly, dude, they just said, "Oh yeah, it's fine, probably." That's probably
Yeah,
just, "Oh yeah, it'll be
they
fine.
wanted the deal.
We'll worry about
I
it."
mean,
They just wanted the deal.
yeah, they wanted the deal, and you know what? They got it. They figured, MB Simmer on YouTube says, I wonder if they always knew that Anthropic would say no and it was intended to be an example setting project from the get go. Maybe. Maybe they knew that Anthropic would never bend on their safety and like ethics.
Yeah. And OpenAI, their pitch is we have the best guardrails in the world. So whatever the government wants to do, we're guardrailed, etc.
And then this came out.
Jared
Which
is
is
so
pretty
funny,
funny.
dude.
It,
So funny.
which because Bun was acquired by Anthropic. And so, in this post, Bun, the official Bun X account says, is this what a supply chain risk looks like to you? And it's the Bun logo with the Anthropic logo as its
Butthole.
butthole. The whole joke on butthole AI logos. And it's pretty funny. I'm
That's a
surprised that
banger.
Anthropic lets them get away with it, but maybe they're just like they're under the radar, right? So it
Yeah.
seems like Anthropic wouldn't want this, but hey, they're doing their own thing. Good for them.
Unless someone got fired because of it.
Yeah, we don't know. We do not know, but I laughed.
Before we end this, what do you think? Like, let's say, let's not even put these companies in welfare. Let's say Mastra had something like this. Where would you be on, like, would you be scared of what the government's going to do, or would you just go with it?
Yeah, that's a tough question. I mean, like I said before, I do really respect Dario's position. I think he was in a tough spot, and I think Anthropic does at least publicly try to show that they care more about AI safety. They do more research. I think all that is good. I mean, that was one of the whole reasons they left OpenAI, right? And that's why other people, Ilya, right, left OpenAI was for some of those same reasons, right? It's just they thought that it was supposed to be a research lab, and it kind of has grown into more of a commercial engine, and maybe the safety has gone out the window a little bit, which is just internal speculation. At least that's what I'm seeing as I as I watch what's happening. So I appreciate Dario doing that. I think you do have to have morals you can stand on. Otherwise, what are you doing? So
Yeah.
if those are your if those are your lines you will not cross, then you can't cross those lines. And if that so I would like to think that given the same situation, I'd probably end up where Dario is. Time would tell. Like, hopefully time will tell, and
Yeah.
and maybe I don't want to be ever put in that situation, actually. But if I was, hopefully it would play out that way. I think there's a lot of
Yeah.
nuance to this as well, and we're only seeing the public side of it. So who knows what they were given for opportunities to like remedy that, if there was no negotiating leverage, if there was some. Maybe Dario thought he had more negotiating leverage than he did. Like, these conversations are challenging, and I also see the government's perspective of being able to have some control and safeguards into like what the models can do and how they can use them internally. I don't necessarily agree with all of what they want. I think some of it was maybe a little bit of an overreach, but the government is going to want that. It's been kind of proven out for a long time. So I don't know. What about you?
I don't want to sound like a douche, but if I knew that I was going to get caps lock tweeted by the president, I'd just do whatever. Just do whatever.
Hey,
Because it'll kill our business, right? If we get
yeah.
caps look, Monster is small, right? But imagine you get caps lock tweeted by the president, we're done, dude. We just hang it up right now. Like, just hang it up. Like,
Yeah. Yep. I mean, you are, potentially not wrong. But if you were small and you got caps lock tweeted by the president, 50% of the people would immediately like you. I mean, there were
yes,
posts.
they would know.
So actually, you could argue the other side, because I saw a tweet of Katy Perry signing up for Anthropic. Did you see that?
Yeah, dude. Amazing. Amazing.
After this? So it's like if you there's like a certain part of people that just do not like Trump, and whatever he says, they're going to do the opposite. So if he hates something, you're actually going to get a different kind of business than you would have got there. Maybe would have got, but so it might not all be bad. I don't know. I don't
The
want
other
to.
celebrity,
Yeah.
celebrity I saw who was doing AI stuff is this guy named Baby Keem. He's like Kendrick Lamar's cousin, and his tweets like, "Yo, how do I use reasoning in OpenClaw?" That's his tweet.
Yeah. So anyways, I don't want to find out. Let's not find out.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
there's a question here, and we're going to talk about this. So I'm just going to summarize it from Kiro D4K. I have a question for all. All these changes in AI are overwhelming and honestly tough on mental health. How do you guys at Monster see this evolving? Do you think we're all going to lose our jobs? We're going to talk about this because there's a big story around this. So we'll cover it in a bit. I think we have a lot of thoughts on it. So we'll leave some space to discuss. But curious on, if you're in the chat, let us know what you think. We're going to talk just the Cloudflare Vercel drama really quickly. Cloudflare rebuilt Next.js and AI in a week. You probably, if you watch the full live stream, we kind of cover this. So if you're just watching the news, I'm just going to cover it really quickly. Vercel found some security issues. I think they worked really hard to find security issues, and they reported them. Malt said that this is going to probably cause more closed source repos for tests, so people can't just slop fork their open source projects. And also, this was kind of some sleuthing that someone found out. So if you're familiar with Cloudflare, if you do npm install agents, you get the Cloudflare agents SDK. It looks like Vercel somehow got the agent npm package. So they're not using it yet, but they found out that it looks like Vercel owns it now, or at least is a collaborator on it. So we'll see. Vercel is very good at npm namespaces, npm install AI, npm install chat, workflows, and now maybe agent.
Must be nice having thousands of dollars to spend,
What do you think they
NPM
have to spend?
namespace is the new domain squatting.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't even want to know what their npm namespace bill is, because with AI, that was a good get. Chat,
Workflow.
workflow.
Chat.
Yeah. I
Dude,
mean,
if you're holding on to chat, right, and Guillermo comes up to you, he's like, "Yo, I'm gonna use that." I'll be like, dude, 100K. That's what I would say, 100K.
I bet I wouldn't be surprised if they spend more than that.
Yeah.
So, anyways, great, great namespace. Now let's talk about the topic that we just kind of casually mentioned just a second ago. This is a really long post by Jack Dorsey. We're making blocks smaller today. Here's my note to the company. I'm not going to read this whole thing. I'm going to kind of summarize it. But essentially, they had about 10,000 people, and they're going to get rid of, or they were letting go of 4,000 of them. If you read the post, it does kind of tie into that. We kind of the AI plays a part in this. Like people can be more productive. So I think that's a piece of it. I think that's kind of going into the fear of some people is that with all this productivity gains of AI, are they going to need less people? And this would lead you to believe that this is maybe one of many examples, but probably the biggest one in quite a while that could be true. If you read the post more, basically Jack said they have two options. They could either do casual, like less smaller cuts, but probably have to do it over time, or just make one big cut and then go forward. And so the decision was, let's make one really big cut. I think people were surprised because they posted the largest profits they ever had, and then they still made this big of a cut. I think that's what scares people.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Do you think they found redundancy, or they didn't really say what kind of roles were cut, huh? Like just that, X amount of people were cut.
I saw a bunch of memes that were, supposed to be Jack asking Claude or OpenAI, cut 60 or 40% of staff, make no mistakes or something like, it's like, and I don't, I don't want to make light of people losing their job. It is not,
Yeah.
this isn't funny stuff, but it is kind of scary. And to take Kiro's D4K, your question on YouTube, yeah, I think all of us don't know how this is going to play out. I think, and we'll talk about the other side of this. I think there's, some indications that there's more jobs out there than ever, and that productivity gains actually make more opportunity, right? There's like you actually just because now that software is easier to write, you actually need more software than you did before because you can actually put software in places you never could before. So not only are people able to write more software, but maybe now you want more people because one person can do so much more. So it actually like amplifies the productivity. Or there's the other side is maybe that doesn't happen, and maybe the technology chain outgrows us being able to find new jobs or to like grow into that capacity. So I think it is a little scary. I am more of an optimist. I think there's going to be more opportunities because of this, but I do understand that some people are a little nervous.
I think the like effective AI thing is overstated. Like there's this thing on Rands and Repos. It's like this profile, the wolf. We've talked about this before.
Yeah.
I think wolves, like if you're a wolf archetype, AI makes you like 10 times better because you're like a lone wolf. You don't like working with people. You can get same things done without working in teams and stuff. So then you can argue that you should just hire wolves, these people who are 10x engineers, 100x engineers.
Yeah, but
whatever,
dude,
right?
that's the scary part because let's use that. Like the wolf is I've seen someone else use the professional athlete analogy. It's like if you think about professional sports players, basketball, the top 0.1% are making a ton of money because they're so much, arguably so much better. And you have the people that are like the semi-pros or the weekend basketball players, and they don't make barely anything, right?
Yeah.
And the question is, if that is the world, and the quote unquote wolves as you describe them are going to be 1,000x more, but not everyone is a wolf, right? Like some people are naturally more inclined to be better than others. And I think that's the scary part is if you're looking in the mirror and you're like, yeah, I'm pretty good, but am I that good? Like I'm not maybe the best engineer on my team, or only the best engineers on the team going to make it. I think that's the scary part,
I don't
right?
think so. Yeah, I'm not sure because like there's only 500 people in the NBA, so it's not like. But there are more leagues, let's say, companies in the world,
Yeah,
so
but
like.
Yeah, but the NBA is where all the eyeballs are, right? So that's where all the money flows to. And I think that there will still would be much more than just the 500 people in the NBA, right? In this case, because I think there's a lot more need for software than for basketball entertainment, right? Like you can only watch so many games. You couldn't have that many games and actually keep track of it all. But software, like the world can consume a ton of software. So I think it's a little bit different scale, but yeah, it is a question. I'm not as worried as some people, to be honest, but I understand it. So Chad Hurley, former CEO of YouTube, says, "Hope everyone enjoys their last year of meaningful work," kind of alluding to the block. I think this came out after the block post. This is kind of in that same vein. It's a little humorous. I think I have it up here. I'll pull it up. All right, so it's AI generated, obviously, so this is not real.
But it's so good. This reminds me of dodgeball, dude.
Yeah, I know.
How come Sam Altman's the only one who's still fat?
I don't know. The person who built it must not have liked Sam Altman or something. So obviously that's a joke, but it got a ton of views, and I mean a lot of people were like speaking about the technicality of like the energy transfer of like the energy you consume versus like create is not, it's never equal. Like they're reading way too much into it. It's supposed to be a joke, but it's this idea of it's kind of plays into the fear of people of what happens if we don't have jobs. What will we do? Again, a little overstated. So there's actually some signs of this is way overhyped in that the number of software engineering job postings are actually increasing, not decreasing. So that kind of kills the narrative a bit that being able to create software more quickly is going to actually decrease the need for software engineers. I actually saw the largest number of businesses or startups that are being created as well. So it's like maybe the largest companies don't need as many people, or they overhired and now they'll drop down and they'll probably start hiring again. But maybe there's a lot of these other smaller companies that now can spin up that can hire a lot of those people. And maybe that, does disrupt wages a bit. Like there's all these like downstream effects that are hard to predict. But I think that the narrative of that all these jobs are going to go away today or in the really near future, I think is overblown. Again, who knows? I think we're all speculating.
Yeah. It's a bunch of FUD too for people like, for Kiro's sake, like, yeah, these things are tough on mental health if you keep thinking your job is in jeopardy and stuff. But I think you should take it a day at a time. And if you are a big company person, it's time to start thinking like a small company person, a startup person, an entrepreneur. Because if you don't work at Meta or whatever, that's cool. There's billions of people on the earth, right? Capturing value is a strategy. So maybe it just changes the mindset for people.
Yeah. And I would just say my one suggestion is if you are one of the, and you probably wouldn't be watching this if you're one of these people. So like I'm speaking to a crowd that's probably not here. But if you're one of those people that are completely against AI, you don't want to use AI tools, you care just about the craft of engineering and you want to do it the way you've always done it, that might be tough for you. But if you're willing to use the tools and learn and figure out like how do you increase your leverage, well then you become more valuable, right? Like you can do more. And yes, you should be encouraging your colleagues and everything to do the same, but ultimately if you can be way more productive, you're now more valuable than you were before, right? So you should be, hopefully this show helps you all out, but you should be using these tools. You should be using, Master Code, Claude Code, whatever the tools you want to use, but get good at using them. Keep up with the model changes. Figure out like how you can leverage these tools to be even more effective. And I think that'll hopefully lead to good things. But OpenAI is always in the news. They raised $110 billion. That is a lot of bees. 110 billion. That's a lot. Swix did have a post that I thought was interesting after the fundraise, saying that Codex added 600,000 users in the last 3 weeks. That's a lot of people. And I think it kind of ties into the narrative that more and more people are maybe considering other things other than just Claude Code.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
That backs it up.
I've been using Codex a bit. I like it.
Well, if Swick said it, I'm definitely doing it now.
You got to get on the
I'm on Claude Code
the Codex
now.
train.
Or a Codex train, yeah.
So Claude had a whole bunch of releases. Claude does launch. They're launching a lot of features. So we're going to cover them really quickly.
Dude, they're on Product Hunt every week, it seems.
Yeah. Yeah, they're launching
With
something.
us.
I mean, I feel like they have to choose what to put on Product Hunt because they can't put all their stuff.
Yeah.
So Anthropic's acquired Vercel AI to advance Claude's computer use capabilities. So there's an acquisition. They announced Claude Code Remote Control. So you can basically use /remote control and start local sessions from the terminal and continue them from your phone. So that's pretty cool. That's a cool feature. We talked
Someone
about the bar
asked for
test.
this in Monster Code.
Yeah. We've talked about the bar
PR's
test
welcome.
before. They rolled out an auto memory feature. Tyler on our team who built our whole memory system did say that it seems a little weak, but they rolled it out. They're definitely caring about memory and like how to think through memory across session. I think the biggest downside to this is only your memory's limited at they cap it at 200 lines, which is kind of a weird arbitrary thing. I don't know why they do that, but it's literally 200 lines of memory across sessions. It seems very specific. They released co-work scheduled tasks. And they have Slack rolled out a new plugin that allows you to connect to Slack for search, messaging, document creation, and more with Claude Code, with the Slack MCP. They also had a partnership with Intuit. So, I mean, they've been making a lot of moves. So as much as the Secretary of War stuff didn't go well, they're doing a lot of other things. Let's talk through the state of AI coding. So Andre Karpathy basically tied into some of the stuff we've already been talking about. It's hard to communicate how much programming has changed due to AI in the last 2 months, not gradually and over time in the progress as usual way, but specifically this last December, which I would say was when I noticed the big difference. It was mid-December for me is when it hit. Like Opus 4.5, right? That was the big moment for me where it felt like there was a huge step change. But, he says there are a number of asterisks, but in my opinion, coding agents basically didn't work before December and basically work since. The models have significantly higher quality, long-term coherence, tenacity, and they can power through large and long tasks, well past enough that it is extremely disruptive to the default programming workflow. And it kind of sums it up to say, in my opinion, this is nowhere near business as usual time in software. So you can read the whole post. What do you think of this?
I don't agree with him at all. And maybe it's because he's doing little nutrition calendar, nutrition calculator app and, whatever BS apps. Like if you're trying to build something, there's actually a comment here. True human creativity will be worth more than gold. Like I do agree. The models are so good. It's like having minions that can help me with everything. But I still have to think, unless I'm copying something else. Like when I built Wit, I was just copying something else, right? Like I didn't have to think that much. But when we're doing like day-to-day work, I'm still thinking. I'm just not necessarily doing the work. But then Karpathy, he writes these things to be very optimistic and encouraging and things like that. But I do think it is not business as usual, just not as much as he thinks that it's just so amazing.
I mean, I think there's this natural hype cycle. I noticed a huge step change in December. I was running Ralph loops every night. And you know what? How many of those Ralph loops made it to production? Some of them.
How many?
But some, I don't know the count. I probably ran, I was almost every night I was running something, right? Most of them died as throwaway prototypes, which is great. Like I can basically build something while I'm sleeping and it mostly works with maybe a little tweaks afterwards, but it's not shippable. It's not quality production software. I could have got it there, but there's still a lot of time that would go into that. So it's not like it takes the time to zero. I think it makes getting to prototype really fast. And if you know what you want, you can be hands on the wheel a little bit driving, maybe the hands off the wheel, but watching, and you can get there faster. But it's this idea that it's completely autonomous and it's going to know what you want to do and just be able to do it. Unfortunately, you need tastes and you need to like be part of like the human creative process and like actually do it. Now, it makes you way more efficient if you know how to use it, but there's still it's still not like a hands off the wheel situation completely where you can just completely self-driving. It's more like driver assist still, in my opinion.
And no offense to Karpathy, but like none of his apps that he created have impressed me. You know what I mean? Like that's just
Yeah.
throwing that out there.
Yeah, I
Like
mean they're
they're not
cool.
impressive. They're
Yeah,
cool, yeah.
yeah, they're cool. But so it's also like it's not the same like as a incredibly polished piece of software.
Yeah.
I think that stuff takes time, attention, a lot of care. It's like getting to 80% is easy, but getting that 80 to 100% is really, really hard. And that has not, it's
Yeah.
gotten a little faster, but it's still very difficult.
Yeah, dude, we remember we like looped something for a week and none of that went to production. It's in production now, but
But we had to rewrite it all.
we had
Like,
to rewrite it all. Yeah.
or the team helped rewrite large parts of it.
Yeah.
One of my biggest fears is that I'm throwing slot PRs over for someone else to finish. Like I'm very cognizant of that because I don't want to be the person that doesn't have the time to completely finish the stuff that I start, and I throw a crappy PR over to someone and say like, "Oh, you got to basically like figure out what I was doing, or what I wasn't even doing, what Claude or Codex was doing, and then you need to then figure it out and then make it better." In most cases, it would have been better just to start from the beginnings. But if you think about it like a prototype, then it's like, okay, look at it, see what it's supposed to do. Now completely rewrite it, but in the way that makes sense to you, but using this as like the model, that starts to make sense and does like speed up the iteration cycle. So I try to throw prototypes over, not PRs, because I think if I can't get it to 99%, like I shouldn't expect someone else to come in and finish it. So Cursor now shows you demos, not diffs. This was a big release from Cursor. And essentially, the agents can use the software they built to send you videos of their work. This is pretty cool.
Super cool. I saw it demoed live in SF. David from Cursor was running Cursor within the demo, and it's actually an interactive demo too. So you can have it drive, or you can just take control of the box they make. It's very cool.
Linear is basically kind of positioning itself as your AI coding tool, which it should have been doing all along, and it's kind of been slowly getting there. But you can open any issue directly in Claude Code, Codex, Conductor, Cursor, GitHub Copilot, all the different places, preloaded with full context and a custom prompt. There's been some research on using agents.md files actually could decrease your accuracy, your success rate, and also increase your inference costs. So there's a report that you could read here if you're interested in that. I think some of it is your agents.md file gets out of date pretty quickly and you're not keeping it up to date all the time. And it adds a bunch of extra context, and the agents are getting pretty good at just finding the context themselves. So maybe it's becoming less and less valuable. I don't fully buy it, but I haven't read the full research. I still think there's, maybe what it means is you need to be more careful if you are using this in agents.md or a claude.md file, and make sure you're actually curating it, because it is part of your prompt every time you're using, Claude or Codex. What do you think about that?
I think it's dope.
Missions.
We also saw, one thing. We also saw the same in our own testing when we were doing skills, that it follows agents MD like a lot more. So I'm glad that there's research now.
Yeah. So droids, if you're familiar with Factory, they have these droids, but now they can pursue goals autonomously over multi-day horizons. They call them missions, which made me joke that we need master code quests or something where you can just send master code on a quest and it just goes forever. But yeah, I mean, I think I think the caveat to these things is the longer you let the agent go without validation, the less you should expect back as far as quality. So I still think great for prototyping. I still haven't seen yet the cases where it's really truly getting production ready. Maybe in the case of like Cloudflare with vinext, obviously they were able to get it to pass a lot of tests. So if you have a really good test suite, maybe you can get it further. But completely new work, I think it would still be hard pressed to have good results. All right, we're going long on time, so we're going to rapid fire some of these last ones. Perplexity introduced Perplexity Computer. Computer unifies every current AI capability into one system. It can research, design, code, deploy, and manage any project end to end. So you can basically just let your computer do its thing, and it just runs.
I think this is the future. It's just they're not the ones who are going to be the winners of it.
Yeah, I think it was the right move for them, but yeah, we'll see how it plays out. This got a lot of views. 36 million people saw this. Perplexity is now integrated into all Samsung Galaxy S26 phones. So every device will have Perplexity preloaded with the wake word "Hey Plex." So they're trying to be like the Siri for Samsung Galaxy phones. So that, that's pretty cool. They released 2 embedding models, PPLX Embed V1 and PPLX Embed Context V1. So their state-of-the-art embedding APIs are designed to work specifically for real-world web-scale retrieval. So they're releasing their own research and their own models. Notion released custom agents, the AI team that never sleeps. They're autonomous, built for teams, and easy for anyone to build. Give them a job, set a trigger or schedule, and they'll get it done around the clock. I think Notion has always been well positioned because all your content is there. I think they've been toying with AI. I've never really liked Notion's AI so far. I haven't tried custom agents, but so far it's been a miss for me. But I think they're still well positioned. There's so much content for a lot of teams in Notion.
I think Linear and Notion are playing the same game.
I think they eventually collide. I think Notion is going to try to own the project management space and say, why do you need Notion and Linear? Just use Notion.
Yeah, I think there are like 2 emerging primitives here too. One is like content and tasks. That's one thing that your AI can read and do. And then there's this concept of never sleeping, or Droid runs for days, So coming to Mastra soon,
Nano Banana 2 came out. It's the best image generation editing model yet. Pro level quality at flash speed, and it rolled out on February 26th in the Gemini app. I'm a big fan of Nano Banana. I have used it quite a bit. I have not tried Nano Banana 2 though, so I don't know how much better. Do not have a way to compare yet, but I do know there were some things I kept running into with Nano Banana that I was saying if it was just a little bit better, it would unlock these next few things, specifically with I built like a holiday greeting card and had some struggles with getting my dog positioned in the right place and little things like that. That I think if they could make it just 10, 20% better, that's a big unlock for a bunch of different things that I think people could do. A lot of open source models, especially Qwen 3.5 medium model series came out. So these are kind of like in the middle. They're not the large models, they're not the small models. They're kind of living in between. Qwen also released 3.5 small model series. And so there's like a 2 billion parameter model. It's tiny, fast, and great for edge devices. And we're kind of excited about this too, because especially with observational memory, we're thinking there might be we might be able to use some of these really small models as observers and reflectors within observational memory and still get as good or very close to as good results. So I think the really small models getting smaller and faster is kind of interesting, because you can also more easily fine tune them, or and kind of get them customized to what you need.
Yeah, and they're like the base of RL because they're like open.
Yeah, and so it makes RLing even better. There's more options, better base models. Alibaba released Open Sandbox. So it's available on GitHub. It's Alibaba/Open Sandbox. It's essentially just a open source sandbox provider, kind of like E2B, right? E2B is open source as well. Or, there's a lot of closed source ones. Friends at Daytona and, Vercel has them. There's sandboxes, a lot of different sandbox providers. The idea here is you can kind of run your own if you want using this open source project. And it got a lot of stars or quite a bit of stars in 1 week, just over 1,000 just last week alone, but it was just released. This might not surprise anybody, but Stanford analyzed privacy policies of the biggest AI companies and all 6 companies are using your conversations to train your models without, necessarily asking. Like if you sign up and you agree to the terms, you're basically saying that, you're okay with them using your conversations, which is unfortunate for me because I just sent millions of my emails tokens through OpenAI because I had 12,000 unread emails and I had it classify and go through and run. I basically built a master agent with master code and just set it on my inbox. I don't know how many million tokens it went through, but my inbox went from 12,000 to 270 in one weekend.
Dang.
So and I'm happy with the results. Like I first did small batches, then I let it do large batches, then I just let it rip, and it was good. But if I ask it about my email preferences in the future, it might just know because it was trained on those exact emails.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah, I guess I don't think we should be surprised. I think it's kind of been well known that they probably do this. I think there are ways around it, right? If you have, if you're using like Bedrock or other, where your data doesn't leave, but if you're using just the public service you pay with a credit card, they're using your data. So maybe these smaller local models are going to become a thing. Z.AI has a startup program. It's now open. So they're looking for AI native startups, agent builders, SaaS founders, global teams. Did you say we applied?
Yep.
Nice.
Hopefully we get in.
Let's get in. Hey, ZAI.
Tyler will be happy.
Let us in. Come on the show. Let's go. All right, quick hits. We're going to do these rapid fire because we're out of time. GPT 5.4 might be coming. There's a leak. 2 million token context, persistent state. Let's see. We'll find out. Vercel released the chat SDK, NPM chat, I think. Friends of Browser Use released the Browser Use Agent API. Someone asked Elon Musk if he hates Anthropic so much, he should make a Grok CLI, and Elon Musk replied, coming soon. So there might be a Grok CLI coming soon. So there you go. Stagehand introduced Stagehand Cache to make agents and automations faster by caching repeated actions. There's a code review bench v0, which was released. It's codereview.withmartian.com. It's the first independent code review benchmark. So it's kind of testing all the different code review tools like our friends at CodeRabbit and Greptile and all those. Our friend Charlie, friend of the show, released something in Conductor that we've kind of talked about jokingly when we said in the past, lend us your tokens.
Yeah.
Their version is lend us your prompts. It's like, if you want something in Conductor, write a prompt, and then we will, if it's good enough, we will run it, and then we'll test it and release it as a feature. He said they've had a couple that have actually been merged. He said, but the most common request is add Gemini, make no mistakes. That's the prompt. So, I don't know. Hit and miss. He said there's been some really good ones, a lot of lower quality ones, but I thought it was pretty funny. Carpathy released this LLM Council. It has 15,000 stars. So if you're looking for something to go give a star to, we can have a little GitHub star party. Go give LLM Council. If you're interested in having multiple LLMs work together and figure something out, I think it's an idea that we've talked about a lot, which is like this. You have a group of LLMs, a council of LLMs, a jury of LLMs, so to speak, where you run the same prompt across multiple LLMs and maybe have an LLM decide which one did it the best. I think that's the future, especially as inference cost goes down. It's not just do it once, but do it 5 times with different models and different settings, and then pick the best one. So I think it's a good idea. And while you're on GitHub, go to the Mastra-AI/Mastra repo. Give us a star. We appreciate that.
Yeah. We need 625 stars for no reason at all.
Yeah.
So we just need 625 though, for no reason at all.
So if everyone watching this finds like 5 friends, we'll be there. Just go find find a few friends. Say go give us a little star, give us a star on GitHub, and we'll catch another 600 or so stars, and we'll be in the place we want to be. So no other background needed, other than we need 625. Why that number?
Ask your mom, ask your dad, your brother,
anyone with a GitHub account. Go ahead and give us a star. But On a serious note, follow us, like, subscribe on YouTube if you haven't already. Master-AI. We post these every week. If you've been paying attention, you notice that we split these segments up into individual episodes that get posted on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts. You can follow Mastra's account on Twitter. Me, I'm at smthomas3, and Abi at Abiire on X. And that, my friend, that's a long show, but that's the show.
Hey, do you want to see what Nano Banana cooked while we were doing the show?
Obviously, I
Quick,
do.
5 seconds.
Yeah, let's do it.
First thing is I just said AI Agents Hour from Mastro, cinematic. I didn't put any context here. This is where things scare me, dude. It got the M pretty good. And that's me, right? Like, that's 100% me. How did it know? That's totally me.
Dude, you didn't know it.
That's me. Like, when? I mean, that is me, though, right? Like, it's kind of me.
Did it do some research?
No, dude. I just did this.
Dude, that's like the actor that's the actor they're gonna hire to represent you in the movie.
Yeah.
It's
the
like,
better looking guy, you know?
it's like that guy, like they got the light on him. I mean, they got the angles. It's good.
So then this is from the show, like right now. Dude.
I don't know, dude. That's pretty cool.
And that's my hat, dude. That's exactly what well, you're not wearing a Monster shirt, but that is a Monster shirt, right? Like, how did it know that we have a Monster shirt that looks like that?
Looks pretty much exactly like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Dude,
it even took away some of my gray hairs. Made me look a little bit better. Yeah.
Dude, epic.
Dude, Nano Banana too. It's pretty cool.
Try it out.
Thomas in the chat says, I'll get my employees to give you a star. Hey, I appreciate that, Thomas. Thank you. Go leave us some comments and give us a 5-star rating on Spotify if you haven't already. We appreciate that. Only 5 stars. We don't like the 4 stars or less. You know, if you're the one person that gave us a 4-star review that one time, you know, I don't like that. We like 5 stars. You can always find something else to do if you don't want to give us a 5. But yeah, dude, should we wrap up? It's been a fun show.
Let's do it. Yeah, super fun.
All right. Next week, we might be changing the time a little bit. I'll be traveling. Abi and I should be in person. We'll be in SF, so we'll be coming at you live. It might be Tuesday rather than Monday, but follow us on X. I'll let you know. And yeah, see you next week.
Peace.
Yo, that show's a wrap. We were live in the zone. AI agents out with Shane and Abby on the throne. Did you give us that review? Only if it's a 5. Jump on the tube, make sure to like and subscribe. Yeah, news so fresh, yeah, we keep you in the loop. Get so fly, they bring the whole troop. AI on the rise, don't miss this power. Welcome to the show, it's AI Agents Hour. Did you just drop in? Is this your first time? Make sure to follow us on X and go like and subscribe. Yeah, learn the principles and patterns in our books. The master.ai site, give it a look. Yeah, news so fresh, yeah, we keep you in the loop. Get so fly, they bring the whole troop. AI on the rise, don't miss this power. Welcome to the show, it's AI Agents Hour. This is the end, we all wrapped up. Another showdown, another one coming up. AI Agents Hour's done, but the news doesn't cease. Shane and Abby, we out of here. Peace.